you ready for this?
Gonna be fun.
You will not stand in my way.
Frostborn, hunger. This pleases me.
I do not fear you, mortal.
Your soul shall be mine.
Don't make me laugh.
Needs a brew?
Oh, I do.
Feel a shredding, baby. Let the battle begin.
So hello and welcome to the 40th episode of the Nexus Trolls, a podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. So I'm your host, Linus Daz Kilius, and I'm joined, as always, by Mystic. How's it going, Mystic?
Hello, Daz.
I hear it was your birthday last week. Am I correct in saying happy birthday, bud?
It was. I had a very fun birthday.
And I believe you've got something on your desk that you were showing us off camera beforehand. Did you want to share that little birthday gift with everybody? It's PG,
yeah.
I promise.
Yes. my friend gave me one of these because he knows that I love the Dragon Quest slimes.
So how does that come up? Because I noticed that's your avatar in a lot of different places. Like, where's the Dragon Quest thing come? Is it just something that you used to love as like a kid or still do love? Because I mean, Dragon Quest, the original, was the first introduction to like that kind of genre that I ever got into. I love Final Fantasy, but Dragon Quest was like my first. I don't even know what was that, like turn-based strategy, I guess, kind of game.
Yeah, way back when, I really liked Pokemon originally, and then that turned into a love for turn-based strategy, and then I found Dragon Quest, and I found, that it was a really cool game, and I just like that ever since. And slimes, the first enemies that you encounter in the game, I thought they were pretty cool, so I was like...
Now, am I dating myself saying that, like, I played the original Dragon Quest? Like, where did you start in the franchise? Were you... Like, I mean, I remember how they had, like, Dragon Quest, like, 7 and 8. Like, they were cranking out sequels to that thing.
I believe that I started with number 8. It was the first one on I think, the PlayStation 2, and that was a really fun game. So,
original Nintendo, Dragon Quest 1. That's where I started my love for that. And LiQuiud, how's it going, bud? As always, we've got LiQuiud as well.
It's going good. It's good.
You've been awfully busy too.
Busy night tonight. Heroes Hype, Tempo Storm, Season 2 Finals. So
I seem to remember at the end of the last cheer league season, you're like, I gotta take a step back from all this stuff. And then next thing you know, you're like diving in full force.
You know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say I know I don't have the time to play to the level that I feel like I need to play to be competitive. So like people that have known me and my wife for a while, we left WoW for the same reason. We used to raid very competitively, and at a point where in our life we could no longer raid that competitively to keep up and like push for realm firsts, we said we have to step back. We don't have time to, like, to do that. You're basically raiding 6 nights a week. Like, that's just the way it is. And on the 7th night, you kind of are too. We knew we didn't have time to do that, so we stepped back from that. I know I didn't have time to play enough to be as competitive as I want to be, so I stepped back and said, I reevaluated my situation and said, you know what can I really do? Turn myself up a little bit to help Ogre out. Thank you, Ogre. What can I really do to help esports grow in Heroes of the Storm, right? And like that's what I really care about is like what can I do to make this a better Heroes of the Storm esports experience. And so I have done a couple of things, and yeah, I'm a little bit busier now than I used to be. A little bit. So
yeah, well, you do 2 shows. Heroes Hype. You're managing an open division team.
Yes, and they are top 8 in Tempo Storm Season 2 Finals, so they are in the finals tonight too.
Sweet. And you're all doing this like pretty much simultaneously, all on a Wednesday evening. Well, you're a much stronger individual than I am.
So it's gonna be Go ahead.
I was gonna say I do 1 show, and that feels like it's a lot, like on my plate, let alone like all the stuff you're doing.
You know what? I kind of kick myself every night when I see that you push the show out automatic, like so quickly to YouTube, and I'm like, all right, well, it's the next day before I can really take the time to like push the show out. So I kind of kick myself a little bit about that, but that's okay. I've learned to accept it, and I've learned to move on and say that's okay. I'm doing it anyway.
but I do all the post-production while watching your troll in HGC, so it kind of works. Then when you're done trolling HGC, it's getting really late already, so I'm sure you probably are thinking about going to bed.
Yeah, at that point, I'm either going to bed or I'm hooking up with my team and seeing how they're doing, because it's Wednesday. They may have something going on. So, yeah.
Well, we've got a great show lined up today. We've got Garrosh First Impressions, which we missed by about like an hour on our last show. Like if you listen to our last show, in the middle of the show, was like, hold the phone. We got a Garrosh like talent drop. And we didn't have a chance to like go over any of that stuff. We've tried to look at it a little bit in show, but it's kind of hard to do. But now we've had a chance, sit back, play him in the PTR, get some first impressions, and we're going to go over that today. There's also PTR Patch Notes, some changes to Butcher and Ragnaros specifically that we're going to go over. News as per usual, which we always cover. LiQuid's eSports Corner, Mystic Shakedown. So we've got a lot to cover today, as per usual. But before we do, let's thank our patrons over at patreon.com/trollsgg. Again, guys, the show's always going to be free. But if you're looking for a way to support the show, patreon.com/trollsgg is a place you can go to do it. And this week's Troll of the Week, drum roll, please. Oh, I actually got a drum roll. Thanks, LiQuid. I wasn't expecting that. It was like the figurative drum roll.
I know, force of habit. I'm sorry.
Octoboss. Now, Octoboss, I think might have been like one of our first patrons. He was definitely in pretty early. And I remember the first time we encountered him was episode 2. And he pops in and out live periodically, but he lets us know. He's like, sorry, like I missed the show or whatever. I still catch it live. He's got a weird schedule. I think he's over in Europe, so it's a little bit more difficult for him to always be in our chat. But still, he's one of the first ones that was actually interacting with us and made me think, hey, we've actually like got an audience out there, not just speaking to walls and speaking into our computers, right? We actually have people to talk to. So Octoboss, thanks for being one of the first people to like notice the show and give us some props. So thanks again, Octoboss. You are our troll of the week.
Episode 2, Attack of the Octoboss.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll have to get some of our patrons on to some of these shows as guests. I mean,
that's a good idea.
We've had some of the friends of the show kind of come on before, but I think it'd definitely be cool. I know some of our patrons would probably be up for that too. I bet you Ogre in chat. Yeah, Ogre, again, he was our troll of the week a couple weeks ago. We were actually saying off camera, like, we should probably make Ogre the troll of the week every week because he's always there and always hanging out. And he's actually working on some stuff for us too, which is awesome. And maybe we'll have a chance to talk about that next week as well. But anyhow, let's, I guess, roll into the news, shall we?
All right.
Someday, this will make a great story.
Now, I hope that, because if you didn't know, I'm not actually hosting the stream today. It's LiQuid, and I can't hear the bumpers. I'm guessing the bumper for the news went through and is done.
It did. It definitely did.
So there might be some like timing issues. I'm like looking at LiQuid's screen, like looking for the cues. So I think I'm good.
Yep.
But in general, there might be a little bit of off timings here, but we'll see how this works. And first off, we got a little bit of personal news. We are Twitch affiliates. If you're watching this live, there's a little sub button right above us, which is kind of cool.
Wait, is it up?
Or is it below us?
No, I think it's
above
down.
us?
I think it's down.
It's somewhere on
somewhere
the
on our screen.
There's a little sub button. You can tell how often we've had this this sub button up there for. But if you're looking for another way to support us, you can always do it through the Twitch sub as well, which would be pretty cool. And we're looking to start. We're gonna try and make an emote of some sort. I have no idea. I feel like a Twitch noob in so many cases. I still actually don't know how to emote myself when I'm going into the chat. I've tried it before, and I always end up like messing it up. So I know. I think LiQuid is gonna have to give me like a little bit of a primer on how to emote and like how to do all that, because I feel like I do colon, like, smiley face bit. I'm like trying to do all these like crazy like faces and custom emotes everyone does, and I can never figure out how to do it. But LiQuid will show me how to do it. We're gonna get our own custom emotes and everything too. We'll make sure it's in the channel as well. Yeah, whenever I say stuff like that, I feel like such an old dad, like that's the kind of thing I would have made fun of my dad for not knowing back in the day. Be like, oh, that like band you guys listened to, and I'll be like, oh, Dad, you're embarrassing me. Now I'm sitting here and was like, oh, how do you not know how to Twitch emote? Yeah, LiQuid's doing it in the chat right now, like just making me look like a fool. But I promise before next episode, I will learn how to emote, and maybe we'll even have the custom emote process started anyhow. Speaking of emotes and like odd things that you get in caricatures and such, there was something weird in the PTR. I noticed it's not there anymore, but a couple days ago, if you popped into the PTR and looked into the store, you'd see that most of the heroes had mustaches and some had beards going on. Do we have any idea what this is about, guys? I know there's some speculation. Blizzard actually officially responded to a post in Reddit about this stuff, but we still don't really know what the reason for it was. I guess they said, it's a bug they're going to fix, but really, is that a bug?
There's no way that's a bug. 100% that is, we're dropping a hint for something. We're not going to tell you what, but it's a hint of some kind.
And people have speculated about what it might be. And I think the one that has the most legs, potentially, but you know what, even thinking about it, I think they probably could have done it in a different way to make a little bit more sense, is Sombra hacking the game. Because, they say, this weird bug, like, putting the mustaches up, we're going to fix it. It's like, really? It's not obviously not a bug. I don't know what heroes necessarily would, like, have the prominent mustache. None come to mind. But then the whole, like, hacking thing, or maybe, like, some mischievous person did this too. I'm not sure like who fit the lore for that. You guys have any ideas what this tease might be? I'm assuming it's the next hero.
So go ahead, Mystic.
I was gonna say I'm not sure. I was just thinking it's Sombra too, but yeah, I got nothing.
So here's my struggle. If you look at the leaked list of heroes that are about to come out, because there is one and it seems to be relatively accurate, nobody on that has El Mustachio. I have no idea, man.
But I think that leaked list of heroes, aren't there some heroes that have come out kind of between the ones that have been leaked that weren't on the leak too? So I mean, there's always the option that someone might slide in that might be not on that list, for instance. I think that list you're referring to, like these are the ones they're working on in like the long distant future, and a couple people have popped off that recently, like Garrosh and
there's a newer list. There's a newer list that purports to be these are the next 6 heroes getting released in the order that they're going to be released in.
Ooh, spoilers ahead. Is that something we want to talk about? I don't know. Like,
didn't add it because I don't know how much cred I give it. If you're really curious, it's definitely in the Heroes subreddit, and you can find it pretty easily. But yeah,
okay, we'll let the more viewers that are more interested in that try and find it themselves, I guess. If the next one off that list comes to fruition, maybe we'll cover that, because then I guess it'll have a little more legs. But still, if someone's just getting lucky perchance, and I know there's always these lists that come out and a lot of them are discredited pretty quickly, but hey, maybe there's something to this one.
Anything's possible, right?
Yeah, so who knows what these mustaches are about. I'm sure we'll hopefully find out within the coming weeks. I'm actually kind of surprised we haven't already. Usually when Blizzard teases something, usually you find out a few days later. I mean, it's pretty close on the heels of the Garrosh leak, and Garrosh isn't even live in the game yet. They're already teasing something. But I guess we'll see how this goes. Maybe it's an event of some sort. Maybe it's a new brawl. It might be something like that, so don't get your hopes up too much.
Right.
So as I mentioned too, Garrosh Hellscream's kit and talents were revealed mid-show last week. And we're going to cover those after LiQuid's eSports, because we want to go to those in detail. So we're going to skip over those in the news. There also was a new development video as well. We've got the link for that in the show notes. It's also in the launcher, where you can check out Garrosh and a bunch of new skins that are in the PTR currently. They're going to be launching live when that patch goes live. Now, the new skins that are coming out, a Nubalisk, so it's kind of like a Zerg Anub'arak, Templar Li Ming, L800, level 800 ETC. You gotta be excited about that one.
Dude, I cannot wait for that skin. There's 2 skins I'm psyched about. That's one of them.
I like the Mad Axe Garrosh.
That's number 2, baby. Actually, I gotta be honest for a minute. Can I bring this back down for a minute?
Of course.
Mad Axe Garrosh looks really sick, but I did craft on PTR Iron Horde Garrosh first because that looks even sicker.
Yeah, and I mean, for those of you who haven't seen it before, the Mad Axe Garrosh, it's like Mad Max Garrosh. That's like why they do it like that. So he's got like all the kind of like, punky type bits to him and everything too, and like the barbs over the mouth. It looks pretty amazing. And they've got the mount to match it too, the Road Boar, which is amazing too. It's kind of like a motorcycle with like a skeleton on the front and very Mad Maxy as well. There's a whole bunch of other skin tints and variants. We won't go into those here because it's like, they added like orange to Varian's Logosh like skin and such. So there's a whole list of those. If you want to check those out, you can check them out in the PTR patch notes. But I think for sure Max Garrosh is one that I'm going to be trying to craft. I hate how they're all legendary too. So the shards, might have to actually pony up and buy a bundle to get one of those. I know.
Do it.
I haven't had to spend a dime since Heroes 2.0 came out, and it's kind of ironic. Like they put this whole new loot box system into place to try and like get people to purchase more things. But I feel like we just get so many loot boxes, and I had so many shards until I had this weird fetish with Tychus in a Speedo, which made me have to craft a whole bunch of those and just burn all my shards. But I feel like there's just so easy to get stuff and get new skins and everything and buy new heroes. I always seem to have 15,000 gold even for week 1. I used to never spend 15,000 gold. I either buy the hero straight up or wait for them to be reduced to 10,000 to be a bit more like frugal with my money. But it feels like I haven't had to spend a dime. I've got all these sorts of skins. I get most skins that I want either out of loot box or being able to craft them too. But still, I know, like, obviously it's probably a fairly successful bit, but I've heard this from other people before. Do you guys feel like this? I mean, Mystic, you don't spend a dime on the game either. Do you find like that you don't even need to, that you've got most of the shards and everything that you do want, like aesthetically? Now, LiQuiud, he's a 1%er, so he's a little bit different than us.
Jesus.
What do you think,
I
Mystic?
mean, I haven't spent that much money on the game. So I feel like because of the 2.0 change, I've got most of what I want. And if I want to get something, I mean, I have like 2.6k shards in the bank, just ready to spend on, whatever I want or whatever I think looks cool. And I think the Templar Li Ming skin looks pretty cool. So, I might splurge on that a little bit.
I have to be honest. Both my wife and I disliked that skin. So okay. Two things. I'm gonna go into my wife's stuff first, and then I want to come back to my thoughts on that, on your question, Daz. But first, interestingly, I don't know how this is working out for you and your boy that you're training, whose name I'm totally going blank on. Sorry about that. Juice.
Oh, no problem.
But so like now I save all of the in development videos and all the release videos until I can sit down and watch them with my wife, and we watch them together on the TV, which is really cool. We both had a very negative reaction to the Li Ming skin. It was weird. I don't know what to tell you why. We both did.
It seems kind of vanilla, to be honest with you, too. Like, I feel like Li Ming's got so many skins already that it doesn't really stand out from the rest of them. And that would be my comment on the Li Ming skin, as much as I can comment on skins and such. Well, at least, like, I know you kind of made a face when we said the Anubalisk, but like that's pretty cool. A lot of people like.
I mean, I'll still
Zerg.
get that one, but I just am not a huge fan of it. That's one I'll save for the chest, right? When I get it out of the chest, I'll probably use it. Unless I see it in game and play with it and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, I definitely want this. Right now, I'm kind of like, meh to that skin. When Garrosh comes out, I will spend money and I will buy the kit, because that's what I do. The same way I did it with Malthael, even though I hardly play Malthael. The same way I did it with Stukov, even though I, like, never play Stukov. I want the hero, and, like, my wife understands that this is the game that I drop money on. I don't buy boxes anymore like I did when 2.0 first released, but I do buy the bundles when they come out with gems. So
yeah, I just find it ironic that I seem to spend a lot less. Like, I used to spend, not a ton of money on the game, but I used to spend more money on the game than I do now. And like, maybe it's the kind of thing that eventually I'll run out of shards. So I did hoard them for a while until the summer event came out, and then the Tychus stuff happened. But I mean, eventually, like, I do want, what was it, the Whimsyshire clouds? Like, I've been dying for those, but I'm looking at the shard price. I'm like, oh, that's some more shards than I have.
It's driving me nuts too, because I only have the angry one, and I want the sad one.
Well, one thing I know a lot of people have talked about it too that drives me nuts. I mean, like, here I am talking about not spending much money in the game, but like, you can't even buy most stuff. Like, you can only buy featured items, which is strange to me. Like, why can't I just buy any skin that I want to? Like, take that money, Blizzard. You almost get to wait things go through the rotation in order to buy stuff. with gems, right? So like,
Right.
I mean, you can buy loot boxes whenever and use the shards, but that feels like an inefficient way to get my Whimsyshire cloud, right? So I don't know. Maybe they'll change it in the future. I know there's been a lot of noise about that, so I wouldn't be surprised if they change it. And you know, like it's definitely in their best benefit to make sure that it's easier to spend money on the game. The last thing you want is some sort of wall to prevent that.
Can I want to take 1 second to just do one thing completely unrelated, and that's thank Ogre for helping me out. So both you and Super Dave, another friend of the show, have told me that my mic volume has been really inconsistent. Ogre pointing it out right now and then making me look at it with you guys has helped me figure out what that problem is. So thank you, Ogre.
Because that's happened for a few shows now too. I don't think it happened as much on the Nexus Trolls, but I noticed on Troll and HGC, like all of a sudden I'd be like, "Whoa, my earbuds are like killing me," because all of a sudden you like spike for a second. But
So,
it's good.
Skype was adjusting the volume on my mic.
Oh.
Good old Skype,
So thanks.
the service
Skype.
we love to hate. I can't wait till Discord gets a video chatting service, because that's the last time I'll ever use Skype.
Interesting thing. All right, so interesting thing, completely unrelated. Well, not, but yes. So Heroes hype, and I found out that Jake does this for Open Division too. They do audio over Discord and video only over Skype.
Ooh, interesting. I wonder how that syncs up.
I have no idea. I'm just sharing something that I learned that maybe we'll do. It's a little easier with casting, right? Because like it's not a podcast, it's the cast of the game itself. So maybe it works a little better for that because you're not on camera all that much. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe something to tinker with.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for the news, which means it's time for LiQuiud's Esports Corner.
Hey yo, how you doing? It's time for LiQuiud's Esports Corner. That's right. And you're gonna want to stick around for this.
All right. So, sorry, I didn't know you were going to take it away. I'm like, it's my
I was
segment.
looking
I
for
can
it.
see it. I'm just going to go.
And like you should, I was hoping I could slide it in there. I wasn't sure if you were waiting for me.
All
Again,
right.
since I'm not the caster. But anyways,
All right.
go ahead, LiQuid, take
All
it
right.
away.
So, cheering is live. I am still not sure how I feel about this. We talked about this a little bit last week on Troll and HGC, including with Trent, which was a great show, by the way. So cheering is live. We have a link to it and the official announcement to it in our show notes. Individual prizes. You have to do 2,000 cheers to get the first spray. That's $20 roughly. $20 the first time you buy bits on Twitch. Every time after that, it's a little bit more than $20 because you don't get the bonus bits every time. So, I mean, it's good in that some of that money, that $20, if you take that $20, like 4 of it gets to the team. One of the interesting posts I read on Reddit today said for every dollar you want to send to a team, you have to send 2,000, no, it wasn't 2,000, but it was like a huge number of cheers. I don't remember the exact number. I'll have to go dig it up and put it in the show notes later. But however, there are also group prizes if, as a group, we reach the established thresholds. Now, before HGC was even on, we were already over 1 million cheers. It's like, it's some absurd number right now, and there's no current contest going on. People are just cheering and throwing their bits at their teams, which is cool. I support that. We're like 30% towards the first threshold. But at the end of the day, I have 2 problems with this. One, anybody looking at this is I have to spend $900 and some odd to get them out. That's the wrong way to look at this. Like, yes, we all want the cool little aesthetic things, but you're sending money to your team. That's the right way to look at this. But my problem is still I want a system outside of Twitch to do this. I want to just send Blizzard my money and have half of that money go to the team. I don't want to have Twitch involved. I don't have Amazon involved. I just want to plunk down a couple $100 and send half to Blizzard, half to the team.
I have to stop you for like 1 second.
Go for it.
Because we got a cheer. Ironically enough, talking about this. Thanks, Hero Physio, for being the first person to cheer us. As we mentioned earlier, we just became a Twitch affiliate, so I just wanted to give a little shout out to Hero Physio, who's a fellow caster of LiQuiud's actually as well, with Chair League.
You just need to get one of those little cups.
What, right? So it'll like ding, 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 ding. Anyway, all right. So, well, what do you guys think about this system? I know how I feel about it, right? First, I fully support the teams. I'm disappointed that the minor region teams aren't there. I know it's a little more difficult, but like Red Canids could be there for this weekend. And Nomia could be there for this weekend, right? There's no reason those teams can't be there and get some of the money that we would send them. God knows, those people could use it, but they're not getting it right now. So, yeah.
I think it's a cool little thing, and I'm glad Twitch implemented it because, other than that, like LiQuiud was saying, you could just plunk down, just be like, all right, here, Blizzard, and, whatever your favorite team is, here's some donations. But this way, Twitch can get a little bit of the cut too, right? Because I don't think Twitch is bad at all, so it's fine if they want to start up something like this, get a little bit of the cut too. But all in all, right, you're still sending the money to the teams that you love and still getting some rewards from Blizzard out of it. So
I don't think Twitch is bad. I just want to clarify. I just wish that I had a nicer, less clunky way to do this, right? I don't want to have to keep rebuying bits. I don't have to send cheers. I literally just want to go to a website. It could even be Twitch for that matter. Say, I want to send 40 here, 20 here, 20 here, 20 here, 20 here. All right, that unlocks all the prizes. And I know I've just given money to every team that I like, plus a little additional money to the team I really like. Right? Like, that's, like, I legitimately would, over time, send $20 to probably all the top 4 teams in each region. Because I like most of those. In an NA, probably more than the top 4. Probably the same in EU. Korea and HCC, like, I'm sorry, Team Blossom, I just don't care about you. I hate to say that, sounds incredibly negative, but I just don't care about you. Like, I just want to be like, I want a nice, easy, simple, I want this, add it all to my cart, check out at the end, and call it a day.
You know what this feels like? It feels like when Facebook did Heroes of the Dorm through Facebook. I feel like Blizzard likes to try things out every once in a while and see how they go and get feedback. And I can pretty much guarantee they're never going to do that Facebook thing again because it didn't turn out very well. And I think everyone knows that. I know Blizzard knows that as well. And I think they're going to take a lot of feedback on like how this Twitch cheering works. Maybe this is just the start of something. Maybe they're going to start just making things available in game where you can buy like, the amount of whatever team it is you want to support. Right. And like half the money goes towards the team or money goes towards like the prize pools for BlizzCon or something. Like I know other MOBAs do similar things to that. So I think it might just be a stepping stone and maybe just sort of testing the waters because they're not, it's not like they've got earmuffs on. Like they hear what people say about this stuff and they know that this isn't the most ideal way to go about it. One of the problems that I have with the cheering system isn't so much the fact you got to buy cheers and it's a little bit more complicated than it could be. It's the fact that they're like, oh, like cheer your team, get all sorts of like loot boxes and this stuff. And I was like, oh, cool. Like maybe I should actually like, drop $10, get some like bits to cheer with. And I looked at how much you need to spend to get like a spray and be like, it's $20. I would have rather it been like just none at all, or like they didn't promote it and it's like, okay, great, like you spend $20, you get like something. But like the fact that they've got reward tiers up to like whatever you said, $700, $800, $900 worth of bits, that's pretty ridiculous. And it's almost a little bit of a slap in the face, I guess. The nice thing is they have the global bits. So like if as a group everyone gets to certain thresholds, you're gonna get that cool lizard mount or whatever it's called, and that's pretty cool. And like you just have to put like whatever the lowest minimum cheer is, I think, to get that, right? So at least you can get something. But it feels weird. Like I was excited, like, oh, maybe this is a neat way to get some loot boxes and support teams, but realistically for 99% of the people it won't be because no one's spending whatever the threshold for the first loot box is more than $20, and that's just not feasible.
Right. Well, but that leads to like my issue with it, right? My issue with it is that specifically you have to spend so much money that I feel like Blizzard didn't want to make it easier for you to get the loot boxes because they needed to say you need to make like X in order to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I guess I shouldn't really complain about free shit because I mean, well, I guess it's not technically free. It's like, but I guess it should be seen like that because the primary focus is to cheer for your team.
Yes.
The secondary bonus is the fact that you get a little something in return, hopefully, depending on whether you meet these thresholds or not.
Correct.
But still.
And that's how I'm looking at it. But yeah, I totally get it. All right. Do you guys want to add anything, or are you guys good there? And I'll go into my last little bit. Just checking.
I think I'm good.
I'm good.
All right, cool. All right, so last little bit I want to cover just the first round matches. So Western Clash starts this weekend, Friday, 6:20 a.m. I know that's early, 6:20 a.m. Eastern. So Mystic, it's late for you. I know that's early because they're in Kiev, for God's sake. But it's going to be a good tournament to watch this weekend. My TV will be turned to HGC all weekend. First match of the day, Fnatic versus Red Canids. Then Tempo Storm versus Team LiQuiud. That's the one I'm actually looking to the second most. Gale Force Esports versus Nomia. And finally, Team Expert versus Team Freedom. That one's got me psyched because both of those teams do some weird stuff from time to time. To say it's probably best. So, I don't know. Are you guys gonna check any of these out? I know, Daz, I know you watch it a little bit less than I do.
I just a tad. I try and catch like just the matches here and there. I usually just kind of like, oh hey, what's on? And it's I don't go out of my way to be like, okay, it's like, you know, Fnatic versus like whoever, and be like, I gotta watch Fnatic. I try doing that for Superstars for the first bit. Right. Then turns out they're not doing so well. Obviously, they're not even close to qualifying for the Western Clash, unfortunately. But I'll try and like tune in and catch the odd game here or there. I love Fnatic. I like Gale Force Esports to like just like watch them. They've got a lot of great personalities and stuff on those teams. I kind of wish Dignitas made it into the Western Clash too.
Just and because everybody else, man.
Yeah, they're just like a very good saleable team, right? They've got a lot of good personalities on there. Like like Bakery, right? Like he's like almost one of like the faces of the franchise, similar to like how on Gale Force Esports they've got Mike Udall, right? Like those guys, they give a face to the game for those of us who don't watch a ton of it. So it makes it more interesting because you're like, oh hey, like there's the guy with the hair. I know it's kind of like a weird way to like think about when you're watching it, but it's like gives you some like a little bit at least of a connection with the team. One thing I've always not been a big fan of with the way that HGC works, and I know that Overwatch is starting to do this, is having like location-based teams. Like I'd love to have like I'm the closest metropolitan center to where I am is Toronto up in Canada, so I'd love to have like a Toronto like Heroes of the Storm franchise. I wouldn't even care who was on the team. I'd follow that team. I'd watch everyone because I have like a connection to it, and it gives you that like default like team to cheer for, even if you don't like necessarily follow it a lot, and you don't have to like jump around from team to team. And to be honest with you too, I find it like difficult in general to follow like the roster swaps and even like the team name changes in a lot of cases too. I know it's a lot more stable than it was in the past, but it can be kind of complicated and confusing. HGC's helped that a lot to give it a lot more stability. You've got like the standings, it's a bit more clear cut, but still, I like the kind of traditional sports model, and I'd love to see that come to HGC maybe next year. Who knows? But I'm interested to see how that works out for Overwatch. But that's my kind of take on everything here. Since you asked,
no, I did. I did. No, that's a good point, right? I like definitely it should be a good weekend though. It'll be fun to watch and see what's going on this weekend, for sure.
Yeah, you open the can of worms. It's like me asking you about esports. Finally, you ask me about esports. You're like, Daz isn't gonna say much.
Daz is like, nah, man, I don't watch this.
Little do you know, you set me off on a tirade, sir, and then that happens from time to time. So you guys want to talk about Garrosh?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, I guess we should, because I think that's probably what most people want to hear about today, considering he is the new hotness in the PTR, and good luck if you're going to wait through those queues. But for those of you who haven't heard, Garrosh Hellscream, the most hated orc in probably all of Warcraft lore, has come to the Nexus, or is coming to the Nexus. He's currently live in the PTR.
More famous than Stukov.
Yeah, a lot more famous than Stukov. I guess that's kind of funny because the tease before when we had the Dark Bow was this one's going to be more famous than Stukov. And I think Garrosh, he fits right in there. Pretty much anyone who's played World of Warcraft in the past, decade knows who Garrosh Hellscream is. Love him or hate him, most likely hate him. You know who he is. So now he's in the Nexus. He's got. I will go over his kit here, and then we'll go through just kind of some insights that we have on him, what we think he's going to be like after getting some playtime in with him. And we're not going to go deep into his talents, except for like highlighting some key talents here or there. We're going to leave that for next week. once we have a little bit more playtime in with him and get a little bit more solid strategy so we can kind of comment on builds and everything. So starting with his kit, his trait is called Armor Up. It's very unique to Garrosh in that he gains 1 armor for every 2% of maximum health missing. So kind of like Zul'jin in that he becomes more powerful the lower health he is. Garrosh gets tankier. So technically, theoretically, if he was at like 1 health, he'd have 50% armor, but more likely you're going to be, hovering somewhere between like the 15 to 35% armor. And this isn't like physical armor. This isn't spell armor. It's just straight up armor, which makes him very unique in that he's pretty much going to have armor up all the time. It's something that you're going to have to deal with. And actually, in the PTR, they made an adjustment, which makes sense considering that they've got this mechanic in here, that when Garrosh or any hero has armor for that matter, like positive or negative, if you're putting a debuff on somebody, it's going to show directly below that little shield graphic the number of armor they have. So this works for, if Toronto puts her 100's mark on you, it'll say -25. And if Garrosh has got whatever his armor is, it will show you the actual armor value. It's great too, especially with Uther, things like the Guardian of Kings. You actually know that Guardian of Kings is active when you're attacking that guy. Maybe you'll choose to attack a different target because now you can actually tell how much armor they have as opposed to the fact they just have armor. And it's got a little sidetrack there. Back to Garrosh's kit. On his Q, he's got Groundbreaker. This is 30 mana. It's not too much mana. 8-second cooldown. This is where he deals damage to enemies in an area very similar in size to Jaina's Cone of Cold. Heroes hit on the outer edge, and I listened to the Core podcast, and Bo Schwartz over there says if you hit them on the edge of the pie crust, you'll pull them in, and it's like a pie that you throw out, and there's a little crust on the end, and if that hits the hitbox, it'll pull them towards Garrosh. Very similar to Joanna's like circular, I can't remember, is it called Condemn, or the one where she pulls everyone in?
Condemn, yep.
So very similar to that, but it only will proc if you catch it right on the edge. Playing with Garrosh, I took this off quick cast and I put it on to cast on release because lining that up is kind of important. There's a little bit of delay on Groundbreaker as well. Doesn't do a ton of damage. I think the pull is kind of the important thing there for the engage. And it combos extremely well and very famously with his W, Bloodthirst. Bloodthirst is 55 mana, 12-second cooldown. So a little bit longer cooldown than Groundbreaker. It deals damage to an enemy. Oh, sorry, no, this isn't the combo. This deals damage to an enemy and heals for 10% of Garrosh's missing health. I was mixing up with the E. So this gives him a little bit more survivability based on his amount of missing health. So obviously you want to try and use this when you're lower in health. Healing is increased by 100% against heroes. The combo that I was talking about, the Groundbreakers, actually is E. It's a Wrecking Ball. My mistake. 60 mana, 16-second cooldown, so it's twice the cooldown of his Q Groundbreaker. This is where you can actually throw a nearby enemy hero, minion, or mercenary to a targeted location, dealing damage to enemies near the impact and slowing them by 30% for 2.5 seconds. So you'd pull them in and you throw them over your shoulder, potentially over a wall or into your team. It's kind of like some sort of weird cross hybrid between a Stitches Hook and a Swap, because you end up being right in the middle and the enemy's behind you after it instead of in front of you, or you're in Tannis' case, right in the thick of the action. So it's kind of a cool little combo that he's got there. Wrecking Ball has got an interesting way that you activate too. It just actually throws the nearest enemy, and that can throw minions too. So you gotta be careful if you're in a minion wave or near a mercenary or whatever, or even 2 heroes, and you want to make sure you're throwing the right one. You gotta look for the little horde symbol on the hero you're next to, and it can be pretty frustrating to get the right person if you're in a big kind of group of people. But I mean, it's easy enough if you're near only one hero and you're chasing them down. You want to throw them over your shoulder. Job done.
Right. Okay,
so he's got 2 ultimates. Warlord's Challenge. Taunts on Varian. Well, this is an area of effect taunt. 40 mana, 50-second cooldown. It silences nearby heroes and forces them to attack Garrosh for 1.5 seconds. Now, I think you got to be a little careful because you're not just taunting one person. You can't put your deflect up while you're doing it. In this case, you're taking all that damage. So you got to be careful. If you're taunting the whole team, you got to make sure you got the health to back that up. But still, it's a pretty nice silence for 1.5 seconds. Can do a lot of damage your team can do a lot of damage to the targets there. Decimate is his other ultimate. 30 mana, 8-second cooldown. It's extremely short cooldown. You deal damage to nearby enemies and slow them by 30% for 1.5 seconds. This is in a fairly large area. It's probably like Samuro's ultimate. Very similar kind of size to that, where he spins around. again, the name is escaping me, but you deal 100% more damage to heroes, and each hero hit reduces the cooldown by 1 second as well. So you can really spam this because it also holds 3 charges. So you have 3 charges up, you get cooldowns, so you're likely going to have 4, maybe even 5 shots of hitting up heroes in a row, slowing them down, doing a little bit of damage. But really, it's for the slow and for the area of effect damage here, I think. Okay, so that's Garrosh's kit. Now, we know that LiQuiud is a tank main, and this seems like it might be the first true solo tank that we've got since Joanna. LiQuiud, is this the first solo tank that we've received since Joanna?
I want to say yes, but I feel like I have to say no. All right.
Interesting.
He has his moments where he's definitely solo tank. Whereas it's obvious they want to make him a solo tank. The problem is, my belief is the problem is he does not get enough armor from armor up for him to be a solo tank currently.
So you just feel he's too squishy in general?
Yes. He's definitely more...
He's got
squishy as a bruiser, but his damage is like a tank.
Because he's got engage with the Groundbreaker.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's not the best engage in the world, but it's an engage.
Yeah.
And he can isolate really well with Wrecking Ball. I mean, his escapes aren't the greatest. He doesn't have any because he can't throw himself, unfortunately. But he's got escapes for his allies because he can talent into that too, which we'll talk about in a second.
Right.
But I mean, so you just think he's just not straight up not tanky enough?
I think there is a way to build him to make him a little more tanky, but he's not quite there. He's just not quite there.
So what kind of role do you think he's going to fill, or do you think this is like the case?
I think Blizzard wants him to fill this role. I think they just need to buff him. But we'll see, right? We'll see what happens in the next week. If we see a hot fix to PTR, we'll know.
Well, how's his damage? Like, does he do enough damage to kind of fill a bruiser role in the meantime? Like, where are we looking at him right now?
I think he's a neutered tank right now.
A neutered tank. That's never good. Poor Garrosh. I mean, you gotta say though that like pull him in and throw him over the shoulder, that can get picks. That's like a Stitches hook on steroids sometimes.
Right.
If you can hit that. I've been watching a lot of pro players hit those pretty consistently and just demolish anyone who gets even close.
No. If you can hit the pick with it, it's beautiful, right? So that's why I think he can fill the need of a main, like a solo tank. He's just not quite. It's easy to die on him, and the mechanic that they want to keep you from dying is you get X armor per missing health. The problem is at real low health, like the armor is not enough to make a difference.
Okay, well, one thing that I'll kind of counter that with, I mean, I haven't had a ton of playtime with Garrosh yet. I'm actually on vacation, which is the reason that LiQuid's streaming this now. I'm out of town. But whenever I see armor on a hero like this, like on their kit, I'm thinking as a healer main, this is great. I'm going to get more value out of my heals. Because, you heal someone who's got 35 armor, let's say, like thereabouts when you're healing them. You know that you're like 100 HP heal, just using the number there, for instance, gets actually like 35% more value because people who attack that tank, they're going to have to chunk through more healing in order to get through what you just did.
Right.
And that's more mana efficient. So I'm like, hey, I love healing people with armor because that makes it a lot easier on a healer's resources. So that's where I'm seeing potentially a benefit of him always having armor, like pretty much all the time, unless he's at full health, is that you're getting more effectiveness out of your healers. And I was thinking maybe that might be a way that they're countering his lack of tankiness, is that, okay, you get like that special treatment, especially from someone like a Morales who might be as good at like keeping you like between 35 and 50% health, like that you can actually get a lot of good mana of efficiency there.
So we tried that earlier today.
Okay.
I'm not sure that it makes up for it. Maybe it will, right? Maybe there's a sweet spot and we haven't found it yet. But it's just not. Yeah, no.
I also have a differing opinion from LiQuiud here. I think that level 1, he's not solo tank. At level 4, when he gets in for the kill, which for people that may not know is increase Bloodthirst damage against non-heroes by 60%, and killing the enemies with the Bloodthirst resets its cooldown and it refunds its mana cost, I think that he becomes more, and he's about solo tank level, because he can just walk up to a minion wave and almost full heal. And then once he gets to 13, defensive measure, which is pulling a hero with Groundbreaker, grants Garrosh a X amount of shield for 6 seconds, right? Now, because this gives him a shield, then it synergizes with his armor very well, and it becomes like a big part of his sustain for a fight is hitting those Groundbreakers, and as long as he does that, then he can sit at like, let's just say 30% HP, right? Which means he's missing 70% of his health, which means he has like 35 armor, right? And then he can sit at 35 armor and then get that shield and then essentially have more health.
I agree you can build him tankier. I think giving up a freebie cleanse is a mistake, though. Or not a cleanse, but a freebie unstoppable at 4. But I agree, that's how you would make him tankier.
Well, you put him and Zool on the same team, you just have to fight in minion waves the whole time, right?
Well, I just feel like if they tweak his percentage armor per missing health, I think you end up in a better place.
Sure. And Ogre brings up a good point. You want to counter Garrosh? Level 20 Cassie, where she can ignore armor, is a great thing to talent into, and how it destroy him.
That's the other thing, right? There's so many ignore armor abilities and percent damage abilities now. Like,
that's exactly how you counter.
That's the problem. You're releasing him into a current meta that's a lot of percentage damage and ignores armor. How's that supposed to work?
Yeah, well, I guess you'd have to make the armor good, and maybe he's just a later in the draft type pick where you can't take him where they have a lot of options to counter him. Like I mean, I know this is kind of comparing apples and oranges, but you wouldn't first pick, well, I guess second pick Cho'Gall in like any sort of draft, because there's just so many obvious counters to that kind of situation. And like, Garrosh, there's other tanks I can think of too, like Chen. You never pick Chen early in a draft as well, because you're just so easily countered. And maybe that's one of the problems that Garrosh is going to face too. If he's that easily countered by percent base damage or ignore armor like Cassie, of course, you probably don't want to counter someone with a level 20 talent necessarily. Like, you wait that long and be like, hey, well, we got Cassie, let's wait till level 20 and we'll demolish them. But still, like, I guess it can potentially be an issue. They can also buff his health too. There's other ways to buff it if he is in a bad spot. And then, it's always tough to tell in the PTR and everything as well, because you get varying skill levels. There's no MMR really in the PTRs, so who knows? Like, I thought Malthael was going to be horrible. Turns out I was wrong, right? Maybe LiQuiud will be wrong on this one, but I guess time will tell once he comes live. So armor value, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is calculated the time damage is taken. It's kind of an important thing to note, and we didn't really talk about it yet. Let's say, just to kind of give an example, if there was an ability, and probably the closest thing that could come to this would be like a Pyroblast from Kael'thas. If there was an ability that could take him from 100 to 0 in one hit, there would be absolutely no damage mitigation if he was at full health. It looks at, okay, like let's say Garrosh is at 50% health, he's got 25 armor, gets hit with a Pyroblast, he gets 25 armor for that damage instance there, which will chunk him all the way down to, let's say like a very low percentage of his health. He doesn't get like a cumulative armor bonus the lower he gets during that. Like, so he actually does better against sustained damage and worse against burst for that reason. There was someone who put up a Reddit post doing some math on Garrosh and effective HP, and he does well against something like a Tracer because they're doing lots of like tiny little ticks of damage. But as he's going down in health by each little tick, he gets a little bit extra armor. So every tick, he gets a little bit more armor, a little bit more armor, a little bit more armor. Whereas if you do someone who's got like larger auto attack damage, like a Stukov even, like you're chunking him down. Yes, maybe the same, like you've got the same auto attack, maybe 4-to-1 for a Tracer to a Stukov, but you get less armor value out of the hits that you're taking from Stukov or a Burst Mage or something in this case too. So that's kind of something to consider. It's not like a ton of difference, but these things do add up, and you may not want to take a Tracer into a Garrosh, for instance. So there's a few notable abilities too that I kind of wanted to point out. The first of which we kind of touch on a little bit, Into the Fray at level 7. This is where you can toss allied heroes, and it's got actually a separate cooldown to Wrecking Ball. This wasn't expected. People assumed it was going to work a lot like Stitch's Helping Hand, where you press 1 and it shares a cooldown with your Wrecking Ball. But actually, it's got a completely separate cooldown. It's on 30-second cooldown instead of 16 seconds. But you can throw an allied hero into the fray or out of the fray, I guess, if you want to do it that way. Do you guys like this talent? Like, it seems very trolly. It has a lot of use, but I feel like maybe you might want to use it to help get an ally out of trouble. But throwing an ally into trouble seems like it'd be tough unless you're in a very coordinated environment.
Well, definitely coordinated environment, but it's like Helping Hand, right?
Yeah. I feel like I never
Helping Hand, unless you're playing Genji, in which case your Garrosh will always throw you into the enemy team.
He's got some other cool talents too. Body check at level 1. This damages and slows a target. It's an activatable trait or an activatable ability on a 20-second cooldown. Nothing too special there. The interesting thing is, though, it's got augment talents at level 7 and level 20. I don't think we've ever seen this before, and because those augment talents are not available if you don't take body check at level 1. It's kind of like when you take an ultimate at level 20, you get that one grayed out one that augments the talent that you didn't take. Well, now he's got one that at level 1 body check, so it's kind of interesting there. Like, do you guys think we're gonna be seeing a little bit more of this? Because
check.
I mean,
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I like body check. It's actually pretty cool. I'm not sure about the buffs, but it's definitely it definitely is nice to have.
What do you guys think of this? So, like, this really makes the talent tree almost like a tree, right? Where you've got to decide on the branch you're going, which isn't something that Blizzard's really forced on us until this specific talent here too. Is this necessarily a good thing though? Because I feel like, the more grayed out talents, the more kind of complicated things get. You're getting into like, that like tech tree you might see in like Civilizations or something. I don't, Mystic, do you think this is a good way for things to go, or do you think they should stick to the way that things were before? Just kind of like, you take your body check at level 1, you got body check, there's something else that augments it along the way.
I think if Blizzard decides to release more heroes with like these kind of talent trees where, like, hey, if you pick this talent, then that opens up another talent later on, but if you don't pick the talent, then that one's locked. I think that would increase the, I'd like to say, skill diversity for even talent picking, right? Because maybe one Garrosh picks body check and one of them doesn't, then one of them has just an ability up on the other one, but the other one has a stronger, like, let's just say he went for a Q build or something, right? And then so he has a stronger Q. I actually kind of like this because while it does limit the choices, it allows Blizzard to maybe make some abilities stronger. So let's just say at level 20, let's just say body check's talent was like really, really good, like insane levels of good. But it requires you to take the body check talents, let's just say, at like 1 and 7. So because you're picking 1 and 7, then you can pick the 1 at 20, right? So it'll, like I said, it allows Blizzard to make things stronger while adding a more like build up to it.
You're kind of selling me on it a bit. It almost feels like a questing talent, you have to pick it. You pick it early, knowing that you're going to take a little bit of a hit early, but you know that, hey, this becomes like OP later, and they can do that because you're trading early game disadvantage for late game advantage. So
yeah, not to say that it is the case right now, but it's something that I could see Blizzard going down a little bit later on in the development phase.
And this might be the case where they're going to see how it works, get a lot of feedback, see if they like it, see if they don't. This almost feels like a little bit of a test bed for this kind of mechanic. So level 20 has got an interesting bit too, and this is the augment for his area effect taunt, Warlord's Challenge. It's called Death Wish. It increases the duration of the taunt from 1.5 to 2 seconds. But that's not the interesting part. If an enemy's killed during that taunt, the cooldown is reduced by 45 seconds, basically on a 5-second cooldown, making it a lot more spammable. Now, LiQuiD, what do you like? Is this something you're going to be taking here if you take the taunt talent?
Oh, sorry. Yes. That came out a little quick. So I tried. I also tried Titanic Might. because I thought that would be cool. I tried Inner Rage because, you know, having an extra charge would be nice for body check. And bonus armor of 25 isn't that, like, that's half health, right? But yeah, I definitely think Death Wish is where it's at if you're going, like, full tank build.
Do you have any words of wisdom for anyone using these AoE taunts? Because, I mean, just on paper, it seems amazing.
Don't be stupid. No, so, you know what so here's the problem. I was at, like, 40% health in one game, and I landed a sick, what's the name of that stupid skill? Like, I totally forget. Groundbreaker. Pulled all 5 members right on top of me. Immediately popped that taunt and got wrecked so hard because they were just like, okay, pew, 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 and I was dead. Yeah.
Well, it does seem kind of like a bit of a gimped version of Mosh Pit in a lot of ways because you're taking damage, like, you know, by the fact that you're doing it, like they're still attacking you. Right. Whereas at least Mosh Pit, like, you're not doing damage. Yeah, you're not doing damage with taunt either, but at least they're still, like, you know, not doing damage, just standing there too. I know it's on obviously a much longer cooldown, a lot less spammable, and maybe doesn't fit as well with this kit. But.
So the nice thing about Garrosh, like, if you do it right. So if you can get, so I died, but I died after we got 2 kills. So I was able to pop it again because I was just jamming the button. Because it was, who did I have healing me? I think it was Ariel, maybe.
Because I guess that's another thing too. Like, do you even want to spam this? Because you're thinking, like, if you land that sick 5-man
you totally do. Because you can hit it again and you can keep them on you. Because here's what happens, right? When the 2 seconds ends, they don't all leave right away. And so if you get 1 kill, you're only down for 3 additional seconds, right? The cooldown ends up being, like, up right away. So you can, like, turn around and pop it again. And so what happened when I did it earlier is we got a kill, I popped it again, and 2 people didn't get far enough away. So we got 1 more kill, and then I went down. So it enabled us to get a 2-for-1 trade, but I died simply because, like if you had maybe a medic with you who's, like, just constantly healing you, or maybe like someone with ancestral, like, she went, the Ariel went Resurrect. She didn't go Cocoon, so she couldn't Cocoon me to save me. But, so, like, if you can land some of that, and, like, maybe you have just a slightly different support makeup, you can, like, it's worthwhile because you can lock people down for a number of seconds, a number more than 2, if you can get a kill on one of them, right? So,
you know what's funny? Like, you know how everyone's like, don't focus the tank, right? That's, like, common thing that people will say, even chat to you, like, spam it in game if you're, like, constantly focusing the tank. This forces everyone to focus the tank, which in lower leagues too, like, where you have, like, very spread out damage, you're almost, like, forcing them to focus fire on you,
right?
So I'm sitting here being like, well, for teams that are very uncoordinated and they're just kind of firing at everything, this is a way to, like, force them to actually, like, be a bit more coordinated and attack, like, all the same person. Obviously, like, you know, there's, like, it's obviously not the best analogy because, like, a Jaina attacking you is not the same as everyone focusing their abilities on you. But I just thought it was kind of an interesting way to, like, make everyone focus the tank and focus the same person. So it can't be dangerous, is what I'm getting at. I'm just trying to see how dangerous, considering I know you've got more playtime than I have with them. So you just gotta make sure you trust your healer and be a little bit careful because, like, you know, spamming something where everyone's attacking you is likely a death wish. Ironically, that's what the talent's called too. Maybe there's something to it here, right?
Maybe.
Okay, so there was a lot of disappointed people when Garrosh came to the PTR because they found out very quickly that you can't toss D.Va's exploding mech. Everyone assumed you'd be able to because you can hook it, you can interact with it with pushbacks and everything, but apparently you can't throw it. Yeah, but apparently the dream, Garrosh cannot throw an about to explode mech at the enemy team or away from your team too, I guess, depending on which way you look at it. But apparently you can toss currently, and it's a bug, so they're probably going to fix this. You can toss a friendly mosh pitting ETC at the enemy team. which was found out, and apparently it's a bug. It's only if they take tour bus to a 20, but you can still do it for now. So have fun in the PTR with your ETCs. Be like, oh, do you whiff on that mosh pit? Guess what? Not so much. Throw them into the like as they come over to attack that ETC. You can throw ETC onto them. You can even use his tour bus after that, after you throw them too. So interesting little interaction there. And since we're talking about things that you can or can't toss, you can also not toss massive heroes like Dragon Knights, Garden Terrors, etc. But everyone else, fair game. So anything else you guys want to talk about with Garrosh here? Like, Mystic, what's your take on Garrosh? Do you think he's going to have a place to fill? I mean, you said you disagree a little bit with what LiQuid's been saying about his tankiness. Do you think he's in a good place, or do you think he's going to need changes like LiQuid thinks?
I think he is strong enough to be a solo tank. However, I don't believe that he's strong enough to be in any like competitive or any competition to like a Nubarak and like all the super high level tanks. I don't think he's strong enough to be up there, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody will show me how Garrosh is actually played, and he'll just destroy everybody.
So since you've got a different take on LiQuid, you think he might be tanky enough, if you take the right talents. What is he missing that doesn't make him competitive? Is it his escape? Is it the fact that his engage is maybe harder to hit, easily dodgeable? Why are you thinking that Garrosh is not competitive, say the esports scene?
So Garrosh, what he has in his current state is it's kind of like a flip. So, and then another flip, his Q and his E. And then for his ultimate, he can either choose between a 1.5 second slow with a little bit of damage, or he can choose an AoE taunt. So I think his AoE taunt is a little bit too short. And his flip combo may be really good. However, I don't think he has enough CC, because his Q is on a kind of short cooldown, which is great. But his flip is on a 16-second cooldown, which is not so great. While it is a very powerful skill and it does warrant that cooldown, when the enemy is like trying to attack you, then you can only slow them, right? He doesn't really have that much hard CC. He can throw, and then he can flip, but then he doesn't really have that peel aspect. So if he had more CC, then he'd be more competitive. Like Nubarak has 2 stuns, right? And then one of his stuns even slows for 25 seconds, or for 25% for 2 seconds. So there's that too. I just don't think he has enough hard CC, or I guess frequency of hard CC, for him to be that competitive.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see how he releases once he comes live. Mystic thinks he needs a little CC. LiQuid thinks he needs a little more health or armor. Maybe
he needs
a little
something. I think one way or the other will be okay. He needs something though.
I could see him being pretty strong in lower leagues too, to be honest with you, with that, like the basically the chance for him picking up picks with his like flip over the shoulder bit. That being said, I guess it's a little bit higher skill cap to land those, but you might also be able to catch more people out of place, and it's pretty obvious who you got to focus. Once Garrosh throws someone over your shoulder, everyone knows you focus that guy.
The other thing that's kind of did you turn off quick cast on that or on the Q?
I turned it off on the Q because I wanted to know where the pie crust was to pull the guys in. Just getting used to that distance.
Yeah,
maybe I'll turn off later, but I guess that's the other thing too. Like it's not like Joanna where she's pulling everything in her circle. Like you have to be like very specific. It's a very specific skill shot. You can't even like shorten it up if you need to. Right. It has to be at a fixed distance, which makes it a little bit more complicated, and like using it is a bit more position dependent. But yeah, I mean, like one of the nice things about that as opposed to like a Stitches hook is that Stitches hook, everyone's like, okay, you always need follow-up for the Stitches hook. Here you don't need it so much because you've thrown them behind you and slowed them too. So they've got to like run past you to get past instead of just being at the front of your front line. They're into your pack line almost. So, well, who knows? I guess we'll have to see how he comes out once he comes live, and we'll have a lot more insight onto that guy, Garrosh, next week. So we also had some more things change with the PTR here.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. There's a lot of actually like general stuff. There was also like Ragnaros got quite a bit of a change, as well as the Butcher, who did get like a lot of changes, but fundamentally I think he's just like almost like a different hero because of what they've done to him. But let's go over the general stuff first. First off, QM will prefer non-mirror matches. I feel like, thank God. Like, how
I'm
have
happy
they not
for
done
this change.
Yeah, because I feel like anytime you take heroes, like they figured, like with their balancing algorithm, like, well, the easiest way to balance a Tyrande on one team is a Tyrande on the other team, or an Abathur on both teams. Thank God they got rid of this, because it just feels wacky, especially like if you got like Abathur on both teams or something along those lines. Like you really don't want to follow that into a mirror match. And if you're an AI, it's just straight up you won't get mirror matches, because the team's obviously AIs that control the matchmaking there. But still, I like this. Obviously, you know, when Garrosh comes live, you're probably gonna have Garroshes on both sides, but you won't hit those like kind of off popular hero mirror matches anymore. I'm assuming everyone likes this. Cheers all around.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. Another nice little quality of life change too, I mean, we already mentioned this, is armor indicators can be to the right of the health bars with the amount of armor you've got. So you'll actually be able to see how much armor Garrosh or Uther is doling out, or Tyrande's taking away from you, which makes it a little bit easier to tell. One other thing too, I saw this in the PTR Patch Notes. I had to go into the PTR and actually test it out to see exactly how this worked. Cursor cooldown notifications. So
That's so nice. Go ahead,
you can enable this in options. So if you press an ability, let's say like your Q's on cooldown, you press Q and you try and cast it, it'll actually show you next to your cursor, like a little like pentagon or something comes up with the number of seconds left on your cooldown, and it's actually like live counting down. So you can just quickly see where your cursor is, which was where you're probably looking, how much time you've got left on the cooldown. So kind of cool. You do have to enable in the options, just so you know.
No, it's enabled by default now.
Yeah, it's weird. They said in the PTR, in the patch notes, I think you got to enable it by default, so you got to enable it. But anyways, it's in the options. So you can turn it off too if you want to. If you go into the options, you can just check it out there, and it's pretty obvious the cursor cooldown notifications can be turned off. So banners have a little bit more use too. When you get to the MVP screen, you'll actually see the banner you chose next to your hero. I feel like banners in general seem kind of pointless. I feel like you don't get to, you can't just like plop a banner down whenever you want. You take a camp or take a fort or something, and it might not even be your banner if you're last to get it or something. It's just one. I don't even know what the algorithm is. But here's like kind of a neat little bit to make banners a little bit more enticing to take. Hell, I even don't really usually care which banners I have in my loadouts. This might make me care a little bit more.
Biggest waste of any kind of cosmetic item.
Yeah, I can't imagine many people are crafting banners. I mean, there's probably some people out there who are like just, hoarders that want to make sure they've got everything. But still, I feel like banners are one of the least functional cosmetic items in the game.
This suggestion may add a little clutter to the game, but just put the banner on your hero's back and just have it like.
Oh my God, the clutter! No, don't hush, man, hush! Oh my God, I just saw that and I'm like, no. Hammer driving around with the big old floppy Zerg banner, like what?
Okay, it doesn't have to be like huge, but it's like little thing on your hero.
No,
Samura already does that. We'll leave it to Samura.
Oh yeah, Samura already has his little banner thing.
Yeah, I can't see Blizzard doing that in a million years because of the clutter. They like to keep their UIs clean. Speaking of being able to change your UIs, though, the in-game chat can be moved. There's a little 4-arrow drag icon now to the left of your chat box. You move it wherever you want. I don't really care that it's in the middle of my screen because it disappears pretty quickly and it's nice to see the chats. But if you're the kind of person who wants it stuffed in the corner, you can do that. You can also page up and page down through your chat history now too. That always used to bug me that I couldn't go up and see what was beyond the last 6, 7, whatever. Especially if some a-hole is pinging like crazy, it pushes up all the chat so you can't see what people were talking about 2 seconds ago. And speaking of time, you can actually timestamp now your chat, so you can see what time, game time, people were making these comments, so you can know, oh hey, did I miss that? How long ago did that person say we should go do boss? Was it 2 seconds ago or 10 minutes ago? You actually see it, and this is something you do have to enable in options. You have to go in and enable timestamps in chat. And then also, how when you're in chat too, it says the person's screen name, then in brackets Garrosh. Well, now they take out the Garrosh and actually put a little picture of the person next to their name, so you actually get a visual instead of the name. I guess this is a nice little thing. It looks kind of fancy too when we see it there in chat. You guys like these changes to the chat though, Mystic? What do you think?
Yeah, I think they add a lot of clarity to the game. So you can see who's talking, and then timestamps are obviously really big. Just be like you could even type in the chat, right? Immortal died, and then so when the immortal died, right? Because you have the timestamp, and then you're just thinking, okay, so about a minute and a half later, then I'm going to take the shaman camp. So
That's amazing, because so many times, like especially on temples, Sky Temple, not temples, Sky Temple. As soon as that last shot goes up, you've got 2 minutes till the next one. You'd be like, especially after the first one, you got to time those top mercenaries. You can say temple done, then you'll know, because how many times you finish, you'd be like, oh crap, what was the timestamp on that when we finished?
When did we finish the temple?
Like even sometimes you make note of it. You'll be like, okay, it was 3 minutes 45 seconds, and then you start doing stuff, and you're like, was it 320, 350? You can't remember. But that's a good way to know for sure, right? I think that's an amazing little tidbit. I'm definitely gonna enable that as soon as it comes live, even just like solely for that one purpose. Great little insight there, Mystic. So map rotations change too. We've got, ready for the list, Brax's Holdout, Battlefield of Eternity, Sky Temple, Cursed Hollow, Blackheart's Bay, Towers of Doom, Warhead Junction, Dragonshire, Garden of Terror. Now, notably, we don't have Hanamura in here. Hanamura has finally been removed from the map rotation. I'm sure there's a lot of people cheering all around the world about that one. We've also lost Haunted Mines, Infernal Shrines, and Tomb of the Spider Queen. And we've added, from that list, if you were paying attention, Brax's Holdout, Battlefield of Eternity, Sky Temple, and Blackheart's Bay have been added in place of those lost battlegrounds. I like this rotation a lot. I'm kind of glad they took out Hanamura and Haunted Mines. I'm a little bit sad of Infernal Shrines and Tomb of the Spider Queen. Tomb's probably my favorite map. But in general, I kind of like this. The only other thing I'd take out is Blackheart's Bay, because I feel like that one's got to go.
You guys in your hating on Booty Bay, man.
Hey, it's like PvE the map, right? I play this hero brawler to brawl, not to kill skeletons and collect coins.
No, then you kill the people that kill the skeletons and collect the coins. That's how it rolls, man. Come on.
Yeah, I feel like it's very infrequent. I like the maps that have a lot of skirmishes. Like I like Tomb of the Spider Queen. I like Dragonshire a lot for that reason too. There's a lot of like little fights that break out constantly. Even Brax's Holdout too. To me, yeah, that's one of the reasons I don't like Blackheart's Bay as well too. Like you do have those team fights around the turn end, but they're just less frequent, it seems, and you're constantly like jungling, getting coins. It feels like there's less reason to engage, consistent engages, like those skirmishes I mentioned before. So that's the reason I don't like it too much. And Haunted Mines, I still haven't figured that map out. Like half the time, I'm like, should we go get skulls? Should we just stay up and push? It just kind of feels like a very odd dynamic. And I like Haunted Mines better than it used to be, but still, it's not my map.
Ogre's
not
got my
back. I'm not surprised there either. Next on the list.
Oh, I got these. Can I do the next two?
Okay, I was like, I don't remember this.
No, I added these. I added these. These are undocumented. I could not find them anywhere in the documentation, but I have experienced both of these myself over the last 2 days. So, if you're like me and you wanted to play Garrosh, you had to go earn some gems to buy Garrosh, because that's how you get things on PTR. So I did 3 quick AI games, because I'm like, whatever, AI, you can roll right through it. First game, instant queue, 5 players, 5 AI. Normal versus AI game, right? Second game, I had to like come back like either early the next morning or later, like late the 31st. I don't remember. And like the AI queue was dead. And so after like 2 or 3 minutes, it's like, hey, you get a little, the little pop-up that says if you join as a group, queue will be shorter. Instead, it says, hey, we may add AI to both sides of the team to keep your queue length short. And I'm like, I wonder if my quest is going to still complete. Because normally in a full AI, like, custom game, that doesn't happen. No, it did. I played 2 more games as full AI teams. 4 AI on my team and 5 AI on the other team. Those AI are pretty freaking stupid. And but we still won. And I finished quests. I got my gems. I played Garrosh, and I never went back to AI. But just so everybody's aware, that will finish your quest. So if you have like a daily quest in your log, it will finish those. But it is different. Also, on Temple of the Spider Queen, in one of my QM games, we were taking boss Temple of the Spider Queen. The boss did not, or tomb. I always call it place Temple. I don't know why. I'm a freaking caster and I call it Temple. All right, Tomb of the Spider Queen. The boss, normally like both of its little pincer arms, he like does the casting, goes pew, and raises them in the air, and everybody gets stunned or knocked back. If you're in the little purple circle of doom, yeah, he didn't do that the entire time. And we did not take that boss fast. It was Garrosh and Falstad to start, so it took a bit. But he did not do the knock-up stun at all. Now, once he was taken, totally did the knock-up stun. But while you're on the boss, and if someone invades while you're on the boss, using the boss stun is part of what you do, right? If you don't have to worry about that anymore, suddenly that throw pit's not quite as throwy as it might have been in the past. So...
Interesting. I imagine they'll probably fix that pretty quickly.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
One last thing that appears to be fixed. When PTR came up right away on the 31st, I was on already trying it. On Warhead Junction, you could not interact with the nukes while you were mounted. I posted that to Reddit and bug checked that right away. But maybe they fixed it because the same day someone said you couldn't fountain while you were mounting. You had to dismount and then mount again to fountain.
Oh, no.
But that was fixed today because I tried that today, and that was definitely fixed today. But I didn't get Warhead Junction in my rotation today, so I didn't have a chance to try the nuke thing. So I don't know if they fixed that already or not.
Well, there's a reason they got the PTR, I guess. It's for reasons like these, right?
Yep.
Another undocumented change they found, at least a Redditor pointed out to us, is that Stukov's healing pathogens are no longer visible by his teammates. I feel like that's got to be a bug.
Yeah, it's got to be a bug.
Yeah, this isn't the case of Blizzard trying to clarify things in a UI perspective. It just seems like it's more confusing because you don't know who's got the pathogen on them. I guess maybe you know yourself who's got it. I haven't played in the Stukov game, but still, this seems like it's a bug. Hopefully that will be fixed. Speaking of bug fixes, we're going to start looking at these patch notes. If you ever look at the patch notes, one thing we usually don't mention much unless there's a notable one in there, is there's a whole long laundry list of bug fixes at the end. Well, some of them are pretty funny. So I was like, you know what? We're going to do the best bug fix award whenever they do another new patch. Now, the best bug fix award for this PTR patch goes to Sylvanas because she can now cast Possession, because everyone takes Possession, on units spawned by the bosses on Warhead Junction. Now, off camera, I was telling LiQuiuD and Mystic, hey, I think this is a pretty ridiculous bug fix. Who cares? Whoever picks Possession, whoever want to possess one of the spawns from the boss. But then Mystic chimed in and said, "That's your cue, Mystic."
Okay, well, I was just basically saying the boss on Warhead Junction, it slowly waddles up to your forts, right? It does that little it's just gonna slap your fort a little bit. It's really tanky, and then it spawns those little locusts that are poisonous that explode, and they do Lunara tier damage if you get hit by them, and it does actually quite a bit to your buildings. So I was just telling Daz, hey, if you possess those, that takes out a lot of that locust damage to your buildings, so that's actually useful.
And I guess they'd probably target the enemy team then too, right? If you possess them. Am I wrong on that? So
it'd be really funny if they hit the boss too.
So I'm sitting here, you're sending his minions against it. So I was sitting there being let's find the most ridiculous bug fix I can pick. And I actually picked probably one that actually has some of the most practical applications on Warhead Junction. If you're playing Sylvanas and you decide to take Possession, there's a new reason to do so. But we'll make this a regular segment. Anytime we hit a patch, we'll try and pick the most ridiculous bug fix. Last week, we actually had a good one, too. One of the bug fixes they had is Stukov can no longer dance while channeling Lurking Arm, which I thought was amazing. I wish they didn't change that. I wish they kept that in there. I think Cavalier Gas from last week said the same thing as well.
Can I throw something out there real quick? Because we're getting on towards 9. And our man Ogre, who is the troll of the week, or no, Octobos is the troll of the week, but that's okay. Ogre is an honorary troll of the week every week for us. Has requested that we talk about the Butcher changes.
Okay.
So can we perhaps jump down to Butcher since it's 13 minutes till?
Yeah, for sure. Let's speed through these. There's only really two other things we need to talk about. Then there's a couple quick little housekeeping bits in the PTR patch. But we'll skip over to the Butcher. So Butcher has had a change. Actually, before I talk about this, just there's a Math of the Storm post that's on Reddit. You head over to Heroes Hearth. Chaos OS does great math breakdowns of changes on patch changes. He did a good breakdown for both the Butcher and Ragnaros that I wanted to kind of go over. And a lot of this I want to credit to him because I used a lot of his information there. So Butcher, they've really changed him from an early from a minion farmer to an early game ganker. No longer can you sit there and be like, okay, just wait till Butcher hits like around level 10 to 13 when he gets all the stacks and goes. Like he has to get in there, team fight, and farm up kills in order to take advantage of his now trait. So how's he changed? His basic attack damage has been lowered from 140 to 130. His fresh meat trait, and this is where the changes come in, the meat required to complete his quest has gone up from 125 to 200. The damage bonus per meat stack has also been decreased from 1 to 0.5. This might seem like a bit of a nerf, but the meat drop by enemy heroes has been increased from 5 to 25. So you get a big bonus there. And the bonus damage on quest completion is actually increased from 100 to 125. Once quest completed, baseline enemy heroes continue to drop 10 meat, not 25, but 10 meat, giving the Butcher 5 permanent basic attack damage per meat collected. This is kind of taking the place of level 1 Abattoir, which they've removed. This is where you'd only lose 5 meat on death instead of 10, but heroes still drop meat on quest completion. I think everyone pretty much took that anyways. That's now baseline. So some of the insights on this, the bonus damage from completing the quest is actually the same. So you get 225 bonus damage once you complete your quest, old version or the new PTR version of the Butcher. But the way you get there is a lot different. Minion farming is about 40% less efficient, whereas hero farming is 200% more efficient than it used to be. So this puts a big emphasis on early game ganks to complete your quest. So like Murky and the Vikings, hello, you're going to get a lot of meat off those guys. You wipe the Vikings, you're like halfway to completing your quest right there almost. So this frees up.
I want to sneak in a little story here about this meat quest. So I was playing on the PTR, right? First game. And then so we had a LiQiuD, right? Who, I don't know why, but his first objective was to take out their keep. So he runs over to their keep and he dies along the way, right? So he can sneak in the gates. And then so he's just sitting there, like attacking the keep with his abilities. And the Butcher walks up and he's like, wait, this LiQiuD is dying a lot trying to take out this keep. So the Butcher just sat there while, this meat farm was going, right? So he kept dying over and over. And then the Butcher's just sitting there collecting a lot of attack damage. I'm like, that Butcher's probably like super stacked by the time the keep goes down. And then once, he was fully stacked and that LiQiuD finally took out the keep, Butcher comes out, like auto attacks someone and they lose like almost all their health. I'm like, oh no.
So Mystic, that is the elusive LiQiuD don't want to play. I'm almost a bot. I'm just going to swing at this keep till I kill it. There are many Reddit threads about that, dude.
Which is kind of funny, because even if you kill the fort, if you don't kill the keep before, the catapults don't spawn.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that I got to experience the full-on Butcher changes just, like, right up in my face.
Yeah, and it's weird, too. Like, I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, this is a buff to the Butcher. Or at least, like, I guess your gameplay switches up a bit. But it seems like you can actually complete his quest quicker, at least in, like, quick match environments where a lot of kills are happening. And doing the math on it, if you get 4 hero kills before your quest is completed, that offsets the quest meat increase that's required, from your going from 125 to 200. You'd actually get more meat that way. So if you get 4 hero kills, but before you finish it, you're actually completing it faster, even if you're still doing the minion farming and everything. So I'm feeling like for participating in 4 hero kills, before 10 is very likely in most environments. Like Butcher already had a very high win rate. We talked about it last week. You're buffing him more potentially too, especially in the lower leagues. I can see this just running away with Butchers all over the place, just dominating the scene, leveling up really fast if you're getting good at Butcher too because of this change to him. Do you guys see this as a buff or a nerf? Like to me, this seems like a straight up buff.
I thought it was a nerf until I actually dug into it a little bit, at which point I went,
I think it's just a little bit of a nerf to his like early aspect before he completes the quest. After the quest, oh man, it's such a big buff.
Right.
Yeah, and it frees him up to take another level 1 talent too, because he doesn't have to take Abattoir. So I mean, there's not the greatest talents, but you can take a block. You can take, I think, a cooldown reduction on your hamstring when you hit heroes, and you can also take something that helps you clear waves faster too with your hamstring. So I mean, it gives you that extra bonus talent you wouldn't have had before because you had to take Abattoir. So interesting changes to Butcher. So keep an eye out for Butchers, and I mean, I feel like he's going to be a pretty solid counter to Murkies and Lost Vikings now because that farming becomes a hell of a lot easier when when you got a Murky or Lost Vikings on the other side. Like, he seems like a really solid counter Lost Vikings. Like, you send him on a lane, he's probably going to kill most Lost Vikings in most situations, maybe not Olaf. But, you kill someone in lane, get 25 meat. That's a pretty nice little boost. Plus, you kill one of the Vikings, too. So, I guess it'll be interesting to see how he shakes out. But I think this is a buff and in a very interesting place because I don't think he needed buffs. But I guess we'll see how he shakes out once he gets live. So Ragnaros had some changes as well. Again, Math of the Storm breaks this down really well. It seems like there's small buffs to his W and his E builds. I'm going to go over the changes to his W. Then I'm going to go over the changes to his E. Then I'm going to go over to the miscellaneous changes that were made. So it changes to his W build, Living Meteor, just straight off the bat. The damage was reduced by about 5.5%. Say, okay, how is that a buff to his W? Well, Shifting Meteor at level 1, if you take his Meteor build, after hitting 75 heroes with Meteor, the durations increase and the direction can be changed once you hit those 75 heroes. Each time an enemy is hit with Meteor, they take an additional 3% damage. And this thing ticks, I think 4 times per second. So Math of the Storm came up and said, hey, okay, if you get 5 ticks on a hero, that's break even. Anything more than that, you're actually getting a buff to Meteor if you take this level 1 talent. So that's significant, especially if you complete this quest, you get a longer Shifting Meteor out of it as well. Level 7, Molten Power has been changed. This is where each enemy hero hit increases the power of the next meteor by 15%. This has been changed to 20% per hero hit, and now it goes up to 100% maximum. So if you hit 5 heroes, you get 100% bonus damage on your next W. So 2 heroes is break even. Less damage on Meteor is balanced by higher bonus. So if you get more than 2 heroes here, you're breaking even on the damage nerf there. So it changes to his E build. Blast Wave cooldown has been reduced from 10 to 9 seconds. Engulfing Flame on level 1. This is where the cooldown was reduced by 2 seconds. Radius increased by 15%. You no longer get the cooldown reduction. Instead, the damage is just straight up increased by 75%. So you get a big buff to Blast Wave there. This also synergizes with the increased shield amount from level 13 because it's based on damage. Level 7, too, is Superheated. This is where you got 100% damage when self-casting Blast Wave. Has actually been removed. This is kind of baked into the level 1 talent Engulfing Flame mentioned before. So this frees him up so he can actually cast on anyone and get that bonus damage, and as opposed to having to be restricted on putting on himself. Plus, it frees him up to take another level 7 talent. So what do you guys think of his W and E? These are pretty buffs. I would safe to say. I think that's kind of a nerf vis-a-vis to his Q, because if you're not taking these talents, W and E are generally nerfed a bit.
I think they're okay changes. Like, they don't really change that much. It's just like a little bit of number of tweaks. The E change, the cooldown reduction is generally good. They took out the superheated 100% damage, which I really like because it really boosts Ragnaros' AoE damage, and changed that a little bit. But yeah, it's more or less the same, maybe a little bit more damage, but
Well, they also changed a couple other things. We got a pretty interesting talent at level 7 called Blistering Attacks. It's a passive where every 10 seconds your next basic attack deals 60% bonus damage, but then enemies hit by your basic abilities reduce the cooldown by 1 second. So if you throw it on a meteor on a minion wave, this is for enemies, not just heroes, which ticks 4 times per second. You're basically getting this almost 2 refreshes.
That's enemies, not just heroes?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then that's pretty good.
So it seems like fighting in minion waves might be important. Are we having technical issues here? It seems like we might be. I'm not sure.
We are. I'm working on it. Keep going. I'm working on it.
Okay, because I know at least we're recording this, hopefully, so we can get this down later.
I definitely have a straight up recording, but I think I might have fixed it because. Keep going though, man. Keep going. Okay, I'll keep going.
So that makes it interesting, though, Mystic? Like it looks like you've got Ragnaros, you've got Zool, who likes fighting in minion waves, and you're mentioning too Garrosh, if you go as kind of tankier build by killing minions, is like Kerrigan style. You get refreshes and you get more health on his survivability talent. You're looking at a team that you can almost make a composition out of one that wants to fight in minion waves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of an interesting bit, and who knows how people make that. I mean, even if it isn't just enemies, too. If you're throwing your meter on a hero, you can get you can get 10 ticks on a hero easy, and getting that extra bonus damage on your pretty heavy hitting auto attack already seems pretty good.
Wait. So enemies hit by your basic abilities. So I was just thinking, well, if you lava wave and then you run into a fight, right, and then you start using blister. No, it's just basic attacks or basic abilities. Oh,
yeah, it's not bad.
No cheese there.
And level 20 Lava Surge got changed too. This is where you gain 2 charges to your lava wave and reduce the wave cooldown by 10 seconds. The cooldown reduction has been increased from 10 to 30 seconds. So now it's on a 90-second cooldown. You got the 2 charges. So it can be cast essentially every 3 minion waves. So you can keep a lane more or less cleared, like nonstop. Do you think Lab Wave is going to start coming back in? I mean, it started as Lab Wave was the pick, but now pretty much everyone seems to take Sulfurous Smash, at least in competitive environment.
See, when Ragnaros first came out, I was a really big advocate of Lava Wave. I love that skill just because, you use it, everybody has to clear out. It made you feel like the Fire Lord, right? That he always was. And then it comes down, insta-kills all the minions, and then they gave it a cooldown of 120 seconds, which is kind of insane. But, I guess for an ability of that caliber, it's kind of warranted, but then they also reduce the damage, and then now it's just used as a minion wave clear. I think if it still has a 120-second cooldown, I think they should increase the damage to heroes a little bit. But this change makes it so you can spam it a little bit more now. It goes from 120 to 90, and then it's a really good minion wave clear.
It seemed like the augment before wasn't the greatest. Like, you get the extra charge, but you're only reducing the cooldown by 10 seconds. I didn't see it very impactful, so I guess maybe that's one of the reasons they did this. They saw this talent be like, hey, we can make this more worthy of the heroic tier. All right, so let's move along here since we're running shorter on time. Let's talk about the other heroes that have got changes.
We're over, man.
We're good. We're in the hour. Most of our shows go like an hour 40 minutes, so we still got 10 minutes to spare.
All right.
Just
I know you're
cut the last bit again.
See, you got me tangenting again too. So now I know you're sweating, sitting here looking at Troll and HEC coming around the corner, but we're good. We don't have too much mouth to cover because there's not a lot of changes to the last few heroes. Probius can no longer activate Worker Rush while it's active. The only time that ever happened is when you're leaving the Hall of the Storm, so you don't accidentally press it. Quality of life change there. Ariel's resource bar will now glow when at maximum hope. I haven't seen this yet, but I mean, it's always nice to know. We'll give a little bit extra visual cue as Ariel. Diva, level 4 diverting power. This is the talent that I always thought was kind of trashy. Increases the size defense matrix, but then you can no longer move while casting it. Instead of preventing Diva from moving, it'll now just give her a 50% slow, which I think makes it a lot more viable now that she can actually move while casting it. And finally, Sonya got a change to Whirlwind. The time required after activation before the ability can be canceled has been increased from 0.5 to 1 second. So if you're the kind of person like me who hits that Whirlwind button when you're in a panic, you don't accidentally cancel it like pretty much right after you start it up. So this just helps to prevent accidental cancellations. Okay, LiQuiud. We're getting close to the end of the show. Don't worry, you can wipe that sweat off your brow because we're here for the final segment before we sign off with Mystic's Shakedown.
Mystic, I require service of you. I come to you as a friend, asking you to shake down this situation for me.
Is the bumper done?
No, it wasn't. Now it is.
Perfect.
I
Take it
couldn't
away,
tell.
Mystic.
Okay, so my topic for this week is to respect or not to respect. Now, I'm sure all of you have gone into Hero League or Team League and, well, most likely Hero League, where you go into the game and you don't really trust your teammates that much because you don't know their skill level. But the same can be said for your opponents. They're not all gods. They can be killed. So you go into the lane and the first thing that you can check is their positioning. If they position poorly against your hero, like let's just say you're playing Malthael and they run into melee range every chance that they get, then maybe they don't know how to play Malthael or their knowledge of the matchup is lacking. So you can punish that. The next thing you can check is the skill shot accuracy of your opponent. If they're playing Li Ming and they're throwing their magic missiles and their orbs every chance that they get, however they miss every single one, then you know, hey, maybe it's okay to approach the Li Ming because she can't hit anything. However, if she does throw all these skills and they hit you almost every single time, or each skill shot has their own purpose, like clearing the wave or hitting you or putting pressure on you, then you know, hey, maybe I shouldn't mess with this Li Ming as much as I would mess with like a bronze tier Li Ming or something, right? Next thing, how they punish. So punish is a term that we use when you do something and you put yourself in a kind of vulnerable position to gain something. However, if they attack you while you are vulnerable, then that is a punish. So you go in, let's just say you use the Li Ming Calamity, right? Talking about Li Ming a lot today. If you use the Li Ming Calamity, while it does do a lot of AoE damage, it also puts Li Ming in almost melee range, and she has used her teleport offensively. The punish for that would be to, she's now in melee range, CC lock her, or just focus her while her teleport is down and she has no escape, and essentially kill her. Another thing that you can know is how much pressure you feel like they're applying onto you. If you are a, let's just say, silver player and you're going up against a platinum player, then whenever you do something, they will punish accordingly, right? And then you get that sense of pressure, right? That whatever you do, they seem to counter you, and you always seem to be lower health than they are, and they seem to take less damage than, you know, your hero does. And that's just because they're maybe dodging a few more skill shots, and they're applying a lot of pressure to you, so you feel like your options are shut down there. So if they apply a lot of pressure to you, then think to yourself, hey, maybe I can't take this guy by myself. Maybe I should call some backup from my teammates that you may or may not trust, right? But you need to get yourself out of that situation somehow. And then lastly is how they play their hero. So if they play, let's just say, I guess we'll go with Li Ming again. Li Ming as a melee hero, basically. They're always in melee range, then you might not respect that Li Ming as much as one that would fire off orbs from literally a mile away and kill your entire team from the fog of war, right? Okay, that's what I got for this week.
Great Mystic Shakedown. I always try and use the initial 5v5 skirmish in mid to try and evaluate who the weak link is on the team, because I feel like it's very important to punish it. Oftentimes, I mean, in our team league environment, we're always like, you know what? Let's not skirmish mid unless we've got someone who takes advantage of it, who's trying to stack stuff for questing talents. But maybe it's a good place that's, you know, where you can size up your opponent a little bit, see how they perform their skill shot, see who overextends right off the bat, and maybe punish them later on and pick on that hero. But yeah, I guess that is where we should wrap up the show, because LiQuiud is probably glaring at me from across the country.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm just, look, all right, so check it out. I apologize if I've seemed distracted to people watching. My boys that I'm managing, the new guys, are in the Heroes Hype final tonight. And I'm just like it's tonight. I'm making sure they have everything they need because they are on stream for the first match. And so I'm just trying to make sure all that's worked out. And I'm trying to watch that and waiting for the stream to come up so I can tweet out from their account that they're live on the stream. So I apologize. I knew we were wrapping up, and I knew Mystic was doing his shakedown. I'm sorry, man.
LiQuiud's got like 10 things on the go. He's hosting this week's stream. He's managing a team. He's the most active of the three of us in chat. He's got a show that's starting in like 20 minutes. Not even. Yeah.
Not even.
His APM is through the roof right now.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to make sure I got it all covered, man.
And we love you. And you know what? Usually it's Mystic being like, dude, you know, we're like an hour and a half in. This time it's nice to get that from a different angle. So thank you, LiQuiud.
No problem. And we made it on the launcher. That's the great thing. Heroes Hype is on the launcher right now.
Oh, sweet.
I know. So
like,
Discord's like popping in the Heroes Hype channel because I'm also on Heroes Hype staff. And they're like, dude, we're on the launcher. We're on the launcher. And I'm like, oh my God, what? And yeah, so...
Here you are. I was like, holy shit, the Nexus Trolls is on the launcher? I was like,
man.
When did hell?
Getting Dazzle excited.
Well, yeah, we'll get there one day, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But for today. Thanks everybody for listening to the Nexus Trolls, a Heroes of the Storm podcast that is not on the Blizzard launcher, at least today, which we stream live on this Twitch channel, twitch.tv/trollsgg, every week on Wednesdays at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. So LiQuiD, where are one of the many places that people can find you if they're looking for you?
So the best place to follow me is on Twitter, at LiQuiDGG, LiQiuDGG. You can follow me on Twitch, too. I am also an affiliate, so you can sub, twitch.tv/LiQuiDGG, LiQiuDGG. Unfortunately, I have not had a lot of time to stream or cast games because work has been crazy, along with like adjusting to everything else that I've chosen to pick up. But Twitter is definitely the place to do it.
And Mystic. How many tweets are you at now, bud? 16 is what I'm seeing here. We're going up slowly. You still don't have an avatar. You still are using the default color background, though,
but
bud.
He totally tweeted about something, and it was his first impression of Garrosh. Like, not related to the show, he tweeted about something. I was so proud.
That's impressive. And you do have 18 followers, so it's slowly getting up there. You know, we're going to look back on this like 100 episodes from now. You're going to have like 10,000 followers, and we're going to laugh at the fact that you were using Twitter the way that you currently are. But so where can people find you, Mystic, if they're looking to follow you on Twitter?
Well, if they're looking to follow me on Twitter, you can find me at Mystic Shroud on Twitter.
Important place to look. So head over there, give Mystic a hand, follow him on Twitter. And if you're looking to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at DazHots. So thanks to all our patron supporters. If you like this show and you're looking for a way to support us, you can do so over at patreon.com/trollsgg. And now that we're a Twitch affiliate, you can also sub on our Twitch channel. And thanks again to Heroes Physio for being the first to give us a cheer. So you can also subscribe to our show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you happen to find your podcasts online. You can also visit our website, trolls.gg/TheNexusTrolls, to watch this and past shows, along with past video streams, which can also be found on our YouTube channel. For announcements about the show and general Heroes news, you can follow us on Twitter at TheNexusTrolls. If you want to hang out with us and the Nexus Trolls community, in-game, you can /join TrollsGG or join our Discord channel, which you can find at trolls.gg/Discord. Finally, if you need to get in touch with us, best way is by email at TheNexusTrolls@TrollsGG. So everybody, thanks for watching. Have a great week.